How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another Wakai Comic production. And today we got something pretty cool for you guys. I got my main man, my boy, my amigo, Thug Light.
What's going on, guys? Tap daddling.
Whatever the fuck that means. No. Whatever that means. And sorry for cussing, you guys. I try to keep this thing a little family friendly, but I'm with my boy, and we about to crack open a cold one on E3. Because E3's been going on this week, everybody, and I gotta say, man, it's been a pretty impressive one, to say the least. I've been thoroughly entertained, and my hype meters are at the maximum. And Thug Life, I'm pretty sure you've been keeping up as much as you can as well, man. I've been keeping constant. You know, it's been on Twitter. I've been reading all the articles and watching all the conferences and everything. And, man, I'm excited, dude. What do you think?
I'll tell you what, I'm definitely pretty excited. I haven't been able to stay 100% up to date just because of starting a new job and whatnot. But, you know, I still look up on Twitter and Facebook and all that and watch the highlights and everything. And I'll tell you, I'm pretty excited for some of these releases that were announced.
Man, and it was some, you know, the titles that were showing off were impressive. Some titles that we knew we were going to see, you know, some God of War, you know, which I know has you particularly excited as same thing for me.
Boy.
So we got some God of War for sure. I mean, that's one of the big names. We saw another trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, which, you know, oh man, that was big time hype. The only unfortunate thing about that, man, was they did not give us a release date.
Still no release date. But the trailer alone, it was nice to see that they did it, because they try to give us a little taste every E3 since they've announced it's in development. But oh my goodness,
yeah, it was pretty nice. I mean, but aside from that, you know, all the conferences and everything that were had, I think, you know, what were some of the standout games, I guess, you know, that were showing off in some of the conferences, or maybe just some of the interviews that went on during E3? You know, we can maybe just talk about some of the games that actually really grabbed our attention, and then we'll go on beyond that, you know, to talk about some of the things like the Xbox One X, for instance, the new Xbox console, which was previously the Xbox Scorpio. So, I mean, you know, what's a couple games, you know, I know you got your God of War, which, you know, like I said, you're super excited about, which the rest of the world is too. How could you not be? You know, but like, what else you got?
Everyone seems to be excited for that.
For sure.
And I'm really excited because that's been one of my favorite games out there. Definitely was happy to see a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, like I said. Spider-Man grabbed my attention.
Spider-Man, boy.
That.
Ooh, Peter Parker is back and in business. And he looks so good. I mean, but one thing, I think we were talking about this earlier, actually, when it comes to Spider-Man for PS4. It's made by, is it made by Insomniac, or is it?
It is Insomniac.
Insomniac. So it seems as though it's going to be that open world Ratchet. At least I was thinking it was going to have that open world kind of Ratchet and Clank type feel, but it almost seems like it's going for a more Uncharted type, you know, story with that open Spider-Man 2 gameplay, which if they can pull that off correctly, then you got you a hit right there. On top of the crazy visuals that they got going on, and Spider-Man's design, for instance, is fantastic if you ask me, dude. I like the costume. Incredible. It's one of my favorite things, man. That costume is crazy. With the white additions into the already red and blue, you know, it's classic, and then they add that new flair onto it. I like how they didn't try to actually tie it into what's his name, Tom Holland, I believe is his name, correct? The new Spider-Man. I like that they didn't like try to tie it directly into his Spider-Man, but instead they made it like a new Spider-Man, and hopefully like a new universe. It's not 616 or something like that. You know, hopefully this is a different Spider-Man entirely. But you know, regardless,
I do hope that.
Go ahead.
And I know they, at the end of the trailer and everything, they made reference to Miles Morales, which I thought was pretty sweet.
That's sick.
They had just him show up and they said Miles, and that's all you got. But if you follow Spider-Man, you know Miles Morales is the ultimate Spider-Man.
From the new Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah. Because, I mean, we did used to have Peter Parker was himself also the Ultimate Spider-Man, but that universe went a different way. But, you know, that's all for a different discussion. But Miles Morales being, you know, even mentioned is already a thumbs up for that game. It looks like it's going to go deep into the the comic lore, which is the good Spider-Man.
And that's what I want. I want it to go deep into the mythos that is Spider-Man, as opposed to just being another heavy, like, open world game. where you go around, almost similar to one of the Arkham games, a Batman Arkham game, or Assassin's Creed, where you've got the open world, but you go and you do these missions.
Speaking on that note, that's actually a good thing to speak on. Did you see Assassin's Creed Origins, the new Assassin's Creed game?
I did.
Now,
I did.
okay, so Assassin's Creed, I actually wanted to speak on that. I haven't recently been an Assassin's Creed fan, man. I love Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 1 was cool for what it was. I remember when they first showed that off at E3, and you know, it was a novelty at the time because it was relatively not new, but it seemed like they took the stealth franchise and everything like that to a whole new level, a more openness and everything like that. But Assassin's Creed 2, I feel like, is where Assassin's Creed really shined, and then it went on from Brotherhood after that, and it just really like took off to be one of my favorite series at that point in time. Then it started dropping. Revelations was good, but it was just more of the same, you know. And then after Revelations, what do we have? We had 3, if I'm not mistaken. It was Assassin's Creed 3, and I mean, popular
Unity,
opinion on that
I
game.
believe?
No, Unity came out after 3. I want to say. I want to say it was 3, and then Unity, in which Unity was, as we all know, a god awful travesty. Like nobody liked Unity. I mean, if you liked Unity, you had to be like a diehard Assassin's Creed fan or something like that. Which I don't blame you for what you like, you know what I mean? But like, I mean, that game was universally panned. Same thing with Assassin's Creed 3. If you like it, you like it, you know. But I mean, in my opinion, and most of the people's opinion, it was kind of trash. But but then they bounced back with Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, which that game is fantastic, you know. So it started to build back momentum with that game, and then we went on to oh, it's a boss. Oh my God. I'm playing Strider, of course, but we went on to Syndicate, which, you know, that was also good. So it's just eager to see where they're gonna go with this one. And this one takes place in Egypt, man, which that's a good location, man. It looks, ancient Egypt is always cool if you had the weaponry, you know, the Bronze Age civilization and everything like that. We'll get to see that all brought to life. And I just gotta say it, you know, props for the we finally get to see a black dude as the main character. So, you know, I'm gonna shout that out because I like that. But I mean, any thoughts on Assassin's Creed?
I'm just excited that they're bringing it back. Now, I never played Syndicate, but I saw a little bit
Syndicate
on
was
Syndicate.
good.
But
I did play Syndicate.
it was good from what I saw, but it never really, it didn't just catch my eye in a way like Black Flag did. Because Black Flag, like, I'm a huge fan of pirates. I like pirate mythology and all that. And when they introduced Black Flag, I thought that was really cool.
It was different for the time. And you see it inspired. There's another pirate game that was actually showing off, actually a multitude of pirate games that were shown off at E3. And one specifically being about mainly ship combat. And, you know, that ship combat
Skull and Bones, yep.
Yeah, and you know, Skull and Bones. But did you see which one? Now, there was one that was shown off for Xbox that was like a first-person pirate game. I don't remember the name of that one. But there was also, like, I think Skull and Bones, which was the one that was mainly, you know, ship combat, if I'm not mistaken.
Battles,
yeah, that looked, I mean, and that looked pretty good, but we got to say that was inspired by Black Flag, man. You can't deny it. Like,
It had to have been a little bit, because I know Black Flag, you did a lot of sailing ships and stuff, so it would almost be kind of silly to say that it didn't take a little bit of its ideas from, not necessarily its full ideas, but just the idea of, like, moving the ship around and controlling pirate ships and having your crew and stuff. And I almost feel like it's like For Honor, but naval combat.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I mean.
Ground combat.
That type of tactical, you know, decision making on the go, you know, that looks pretty good. I might even pick that up. I'm not really big into vehicle fighters per se, or whatever you want to call that category, but I mean, hey man, a good old-fashioned pirate ship battle is always fun. I mean, who doesn't like Pirates
And
of
it's
the
not
Caribbean?
even entirely about the battles per se. It's about finding the treasure and getting the treasure is more what it's going for. But other pirates are trying to get it, so bang.
Lord Jesus, I got demolished. Wow, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that. But no, I mean, so Assassin's Creed, you know, and the pirate ship games, we all agree that those all look pretty good. I mean, but Assassin's Creed really did surprise me. But another thing, man, one of the big talks, especially in the fighting game community, you know, and we're part of the fighting game community. We're not like pros or nothing like that, but we avidly follow that. One of the big talks of the town is the Marvel vs. Capcom versus Dragon Ball's Fighter Z. I mean, dude, both of those games look good, but I gotta say I'm a little bit worried for Capcom at this point in time because Dragon Ball's coming with the heat, boy. Like, it's coming with the heat.
that game looks like it is gonna be something fierce.
It's one of
the
big
talking about it.
Go ahead, my bad, dude.
Oh no, you're fine. I was watching something actually earlier today while I was at work. I was sitting there watching a video on it, and they were talking. They want it to be an esport. How Guilty Gear is, how Marvel vs. Capcom is.
I mean, it's definitely set up to be that way. Like the way that it looks to play and everything like that. But it also looks a little bit more accessible, if you ask me. Like, you know, and what I mean by that is it doesn't. I think it looks like it has auto. Now I didn't watch too many actual like interviews with developers and everything like that. I more so just watch gameplay, so I'm just basing it off that. But it looks as though it has like auto combos and stuff like that. And it also looks like, I mean, you can make your own combos, but it looks like it's not going to be too hard on, you know, everybody to try to learn and just pick up the game, which is a really good thing if you ask me. I mean, I don't really, because the beginners can't win with auto combos, but it'll get people into the game and help you learn how the game goes. But I mean, beyond that, the art style of the game, I just can't stop talking about it, dude. It looks so good. It looks like somebody put the anime right. Beautiful. And like, it looks like somebody took the anime and put it into like maybe a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Guilty Gear engine, dude. It's so good. It's so good, man.
And it's almost an exact, like, a beautiful combination of the two, with the cool 3v3 combat where you can take somebody into the air, beat them up a little bit, switch out, bring in one of your other characters, and then continue the combo. But it's the Guilty Gear art style and the Guilty Gear fight style almost.
Exactly. And it just looks like it's blending so well together. And the game's not even coming back out to next year. I mean, it's not coming out to next year, so they're gonna polish that, which already looks so good. And we got Golden Frieza in there, so hopefully they're gonna take it to Super. I mean, I'm not sure what they're gonna do with the character roster. It's so early in development. But I mean, that's one thing that Marvel kind of dropped the ball on with me is the characters, man. We ain't got no X-Men. Like, let's talk about that, bro. Where the X-Men at, bro? Like, come on, dude.
Where's
like,
the X-Men?
We all know the BS that goes
Dr.
on.
Doom?
Where's Dr. Doom? Where's the? I do believe that Dr. Doom might be in there, but I mean, who knows? You know, I don't know if we have a confirmed all the way character. I just fell off of this thing and just died. I'm fighting a boss, but no, we don't have a confirmed character list, I guess, for the whole game yet, but I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But we know there's not no X-Men so far. I don't know how to beat this dude.
Which is gonna be rough, because you're losing people like Magneto. You're losing people,
stable
Wolverine.
people, Sentinel. You know, Sentinel's a big boy.
Right.
You know, people play Sentinel like crazy.
People play Magneto like crazy. I mean,
he's a big name in Marvel vs. Capcom, so that's kind of unfortunate. Plus, a lot of people have been ragging on the graphics. Believe it or not, a lot of people are saying it just looks like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, just, you know, barely touched up for the next generation, and just, you know, with less characters, man, and a simplified fighting style. And I can't really disagree with him, man. Like, I'm still hyped for the game, but when it comes to it, Dragon Ball has me so much more hyped. Like, it really does.
And that's how I am. I definitely have my concerns with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And I played a little bit of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I will say it wasn't my favorite fighting game that I ever played, but I did enjoy it and everything.
Yeah.
But watching Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and the trailers and everything that they've been showing, it really does just look like a little bit more of a glorified 3.
I mean, and I'll even say this, I played the demo that they released, you know, when they said, hey, the demo's out, you can already go play it. So I went, of course we went to go download it, you know, me, Mitchell, and all that, we went to go download it immediately. And just from playing it, like, Chris is one of my favorite characters, so I was looking forward to. I mean, and I guess this is not a bad thing or nothing, but he plays exactly like Chris from Marvel 3, and I mean, I guess don't change nothing that ain't broke for real, but it just shows that there's not that much innovation that's going into it. But it is cool to be able to play as like X and all that stuff, I will say that. Like that,
yeah.
That's all pretty tight. So I thought I had to attack this dude, but it turns out I just have to get to the top of him. But yeah, dude, I mean, so like that's actually pretty interesting from this E3 was the big surprise of Dragon Ball FighterZ pretty much being the big dog, you know, compared to Marvel vs. Capcom, which a lot of people thought was going to bring it to this E3, you know?
Right.
Right, so like,
and I will say to anyone that has maybe watched the Dragon Ball FighterZ, any of the gameplay or anything that they showed so far, do not be worried about the fact that we only have 6 characters. They are going to add more characters.
This is an early demo build.
They are going to release slowly, kind of how most fighting games do. As it gets closer to its actual release date, it'll give us more and more on who's gonna be there, what maps are gonna be in it.
I'm just scared,
like, what
dude.
all you can do.
I really hope they don't go the way of like just DLC, just all these characters. I mean, release this DLC as the story comes out and we get more people like Goku Black. Cool, he's cool for DLC. You know what I mean? Like Zamasu and all those people. But man, give us the characters that we need. Don't make them all DLC. Maybe give us like a Yamcha pack. You know what I mean? Like the weak characters that we don't really need to see in the game too. Like that'd be like some DLC for people who want to play those characters. Maybe a Dragon Ball pack. Something to that nature. But just like. But so far for that game, that probably is in my top 5 most hype games for E3 so far. Is Dragon Ball Fighters, Z. So that's a good thing to actually be looking forward to if you've been watching E3 and you just want to get some more information. Be looking out for that game. For sure.
Right. And I'll tell you another game that caught my eye. And a lot of mine are going to be Sony because I'm a Sony guy. I love me
for
my
sure.
Sony.
But Sony did Sony did so good this time around, man. If you were wondering what that groan was, I actually died again. This is actually this is pretty complicated. I like this game. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are wondering, I mean, if you don't know who this is Strider. And I'm playing Strider in the honor of Marvel vs. Capcom because I am still hype. And one of the people that I play is Strider here, in that game. But that's the reason why I'm playing Strider right now. But go ahead, Doug. Like finish what you were saying.
He's a good, solid character.
He is, dude.
But no, one game, and we saw this at the last E3, and it was really a lot of people were talking about it because of the huge hordes of zombies. But Days Gone.
Days Gone, yeah.
My eye.
It looks good, man. It looks like it has its own story to tell. Like, I'm not gonna necessarily, besides the waves of zombies, it doesn't score too much in originality for me, but it looks like it's gonna go the way of The Last of Us and tell us a super good story. It's gonna be something we're gonna play just for the narrative alone.
Right, but it looks like it might have a little bit more to it with the open world per se. Maybe not quite an open world, but because we haven't seen a whole lot, we've seen just clips and stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the time,
but you can go ahead and assume it's going to be an
open.
open world because I mean he's going everywhere on that motorcycle. There's going to be a survival element to it, of course. They're trying to bring the actual feel of a zombie apocalypse, and you got to wonder, is that genre overdone at this point? I mean, I guess this game is here to say Last of Us 2 is also in the same beat, man. Like, have we had enough of this yet? I mean, even though Last of Us 2 was highly anticipated, it's from a genre that's been kind of oversaturated. To say the least. I love zombie stuff. I love zombie stuff. Don't get me wrong, man. You know how much I love The Walking Dead. I fell off the stupid dragon. You know how much I love The Walking Dead and everything like that, man. So I love like zombie stuff and everything like that. But it's just, it's polluted.
I will agree with you. Zombies are getting a little overused at this point, but I want them to give us a solid zombie game that implies a really good survival aspect. Like not just collecting materials to make certain weapons, to make really cool weapons, to do crazy stuff with the zombies.
Like Dead
I want to
Rising or
find
whatever.
food, water, shelter.
Barely have any bullets. You got to make those
area.
decisions. You want to actually act like you're in a part of the zombie apocalypse, and you have to make those tough decisions and everything like that. And they need to actually include that into a game. All right, everybody. I just want to apologize for this real hard dynamic cut that I just had to make because as we were in the middle of recording, I usually lock my door, and since I failed to do so, my cousin came in and he disrupted what was going on. So we had to make a hard cut, ladies and gentlemen. But we're still here. Ain't that right?
All good.
It's all good. But no, so we were talking about. Just the state of zombie games and how we saw a couple of them, State of Decay 2 being another one. We just saw a lot of zombie games for E3 and everything, and it's just a little, alarming to see so many of them, but I mean, what can you do, I guess I can't go that way. But, I mean, another thing that I want to talk about, which is a big deal, huge deal, and another reason for the hard cut before I get into this, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to admit it. As you guys saw, that boss was giving me the business. I had to actually sit back and focus and beat that dragon before I could actually progress any further. So that was another reason for the hard cut. I had to knock that boy out real quick. But yeah, so another huge deal that for E3, and that's Battlefront 2, man. Probably my E3 best in show for sure. Definitely my E3 best in show. Actually, I was so impressed by the multiplayer aspect. The single player looks like it's actually going to be really good. We just didn't get to see too much of it, unfortunately, this time around. But you know, seeing the multiplayer and just seeing the return to the class system, you know, just seeing Rey and Darth Maul as heroes, and how we know we're going to get so many more Jedi heroes, you know, the whole cross-era class aspect that we've been asking for. I guess the biggest thing was seeing an EA listen to us as Battlefront fans and was like, all right, let's give everybody, you know, what they asked for. Let's give them all the eras. Let's give them the clone troopers. You know, let's give them more heroes. Let's give them a single-player campaign. You know, big dynamic battles with vehicles all over the place. Because as an avid Battlefront 1 player, I just gotta say, man, it's a good game, but it's lacking the meat. It's bare bones and it's a good skeleton, but it's definitely lacking that meat. But Battlefront 2 looks as though it's definitely gonna bring that back to the forefront. So super duper excited about that. I mean, you got anything to say about Battlefront 2, Buckwalk?
I'd probably have to agree with you with the best in show. It definitely was probably the biggest eye grabber for me. I really loved it. And like you said, it's adding the meat that Battlefront 1 lacked in, which is almost, if anybody can remember when Battlefront 1 originally came out and then Battlefront 2 came out, it was almost the same way. Like, Battlefront 1 was great.
And I can agree with you. I can agree with you. I will say that I do believe that Battlefront 1, for all that it was more ambitious, so I think it was maybe a more complete package at the time for what a game should have been. You know what I mean? But still, it's a good comparison to make, because Battlefield 2 just did so much more to the formula, you know what I mean, that Battlefield 1 couldn't do. And it's the same time around, definitely, for this game. So, you know, the hype is real. The hype is definitely real for some
Battlefront 2 originally added space battles, and then now with this Battlefront 2, we're getting like dogfights while you're on the ground. Like, you can if you're teamed up with your buddies, your buddy can be in.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, dude.
Go ahead.
Well, basically, yeah. I mean, we're getting all that stuff for fun. You know, we had the space battles with the Death Star DLC, but they're bringing that in and making it a big deal now this time around. You know, they're not just innovating as they go. They actually have the formula for these things and how they should be. And that's, to me, I think that may be the most interesting thing that we get to see so far. Is they know what we want, and they know what they want to make at this point in time, and it just looks fluid. The heroes look a lot better, and the vehicle control looks a lot better too. And you know, just that gameplay that we got to see on Feed and Naboo, you know, just the multiplayer gameplay and like that huge battle. Epic, man.
Oh, yeah. So great.
Epic. It was Star Wars, man, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan as much as I'm a Dragon Ball fan. You guys know that. So that just made me super duper hyped to actually to be able to see that. Probably, definitely, E3 best in show for me is Battlefront. So far, we haven't seen everything, I guess, but I can't really think of anything that's gonna be more important, like more groundbreaking, I guess, is what I would say for that. So Battlefront 2. Also, I mean, we'll want to speak briefly. Neither one of us are huge Microsoft fans at this point in time. I was a Microsoft fan back in the day, for sure. You can definitely count me on that. I was definitely a Microsoft fan. I loved Xbox 360. Thought it was the best system of that generation, for sure, and I love Xbox. Thought it was also the best generation. Shut up, boy. Shut up laughing over there, because I can hear you. You know, PlayStation purist.
I'm laughing, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, this man's a PlayStation purist, dude. Like, but that's why it's good to hear this. That's why it's good to hear this opinion, I believe, from both sides. What do you think about Xbox's new console? I know you don't know too much into it because you don't keep up with Microsoft news that much, but I mean, just what do you think about the Xbox One X so far?
I think they're definitely making headway, because Xbox is still solidly hanging in there with PlayStation 4, I feel like.
I wouldn't say solidly, but I will say for what PlayStation offers, I mean, compared to Xbox One right now, it's doing a good job for even staying relevant. I mean, I would almost say there's no reason to play an Xbox One right now, almost. Just like the exclusives are dirt garbage, you know. So Tekken runs in 720p on Xbox One, because if it ran in 1080p, it couldn't handle 60 frames per second. That's pitiful in this day and age, man. That's pitiful. You know what I mean? You got the only reason you can't run it in ultra, or excuse me, the PS4 Pro runs it in 1080p, no problem, and an enhanced HD. You know, the same thing for the Xbox or for the regular PlayStation 4. It runs it in 1080p, no problem, at 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? So the Xbox has no excuse. But I guess this new system is looking to definitely correct all that, I would say, because it's going to be the most powerful system on the market after this.
They are definitely trying to do everything they can to kind of pick up where the gap is kind of leaving them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I will say, Xbox definitely is on the right track with backwards compatibility. I am a firm believer in backwards compatibility, and I think that that is one of probably, when it comes to new gen consoles, they need backwards compatibility to just, that way people aren't wasting their money on games and then getting the next gen console and then having to repay for all the games.
Yeah, so
I just find that silly.
They did announce that they're gonna have the they're gonna have the Xbox. They're gonna continue the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility program, and then they're also gonna have Xbox original games that you can actually play as well. I think those are going to only be available for purchase, if I'm not mistaken, though. So what I believe is that you're going to be able to purchase Xbox One games, which is still fantastic and more than PlayStation is offering, if you ask me. And they're still going to be expanding the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility feature for the Xbox One. That's still, I mean, that's still more than PlayStation's offering. I mean, PlayStation has PlayStation Now subscription service, which, if you ask me, dude, that sucks. I don't want it. I don't want to stream my PlayStation 3 games, first of all. I just don't want to do that. That's not the best way to experience them, if you ask me. You can't play fighting games, unless you have really, really good internet, and I'm not saying I don't or anything like that, but, that's kind of a prerequisite. Some people don't, unfortunately.
I don't.
Well, you're just getting settled.
I do not have the best internet.
You're just getting settled. You'll get it figured out, man. But
this is true.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, Xbox. I will say, the Xbox One X. I don't like the name. I hate the name, actually. It's a horrible name. But the Xbox One is also a horrible name. The system is going to be extremely powerful. I mean, it's going to do 4K, right? But that price point, dude, $499.99. The PS4 Pro doesn't even cost that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's disgusting to ask for that much. You guys are rectifying a mistake that you already made with the Xbox One. You know what I mean? You should be this should be $399.99. Let's just be real, bro. That's what this thing should cost.
And that's at max. Because honestly, and I gave them a little bit of praise because they're trying to do what they can to close the gap. But the price is just outrageous.
The price is a lot to ask for, to put our trust back in Xbox. Because I mean, we have to put our trust back in Xbox, and on top of that, they haven't shown the best track record when it comes to games. Like, regardless of hardware and everything like that, when it comes to games, they haven't really shown the best track record. So I wouldn't want to put my money into that just yet. But I mean, hey, if they show us a new Halo or something like that just looks fantastic and it looks like it takes advantage of the system, then you might have something on your hands there. You might have something. But as of right now, not too wowed about Microsoft, but I will say I'm impressed by the fact that they didn't disappoint me. I wasn't disappointed. I mean, I didn't see any games that were necessarily just fantastic, but I didn't expect to see any games because this is not what the Xbox One generation is known for, is having the best exclusives or anything like that. So
right, and especially considering most of the games that were shown were also announced for PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, they had games like Beyond Good and Evil 2, which, just wowed everybody. But, I mean, other than that, man, you wouldn't really bring in the house down or nothing like that. PlayStation more so brought the house down with exclusives and showed out with the VR, So PlayStation, to me, was definitely, when it came to conferences, I would say second in show. And the reason why I say second in show is because my favorite developer, they came and showed out and just made everybody look like trash and didn't even actually show up and do a live conference. And that was I won't say they made everybody look like trash. They made Microsoft look like trash, but maybe not Sony. But Nintendo, man, like that. Let's finally talk about Nintendo and how that they showed up. And if you guys don't know, I released a video about the a leak that was sent to me, a list that was actually full of games that would be leaked and showed during Treehouse. And it turns out that leak was actually pretty accurate. So shout out to my source who sent me that.
Very good, accurate. Yep. Very accurate video, and I suggest you guys check it out.
Yeah, because it was pretty legit.
We've already seen the conference and whatnot, but
yeah, I mean, we were all eager to see these titles, and it turns out, man. I mean, the big names, of course, being Metroid. We got 2 Metroid games announced, which is what was predicted on that list. We got Metroid Prime 4, and we got Metroid Prime, or excuse me, not Metroid Prime, but the new Metroid 2D title as well. So, I mean, we got a lot of... And for people who said Metroid was dead or we didn't see anything from Metroid from Nintendo, I mean, we got that solid proof here now, man. Metroid is back with a force. So hopefully these games come and they do what they're supposed to do and they represent Nintendo. We got some new Kirby games coming. We got a Yoshi game. A lot of these games seem like they were early in development, which makes sense because the Switch is an early system. So we got that new Yoshi game. We got a new Kirby game in development. Fire Emblem Heroes, which really looks good. I mean, I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan myself.
That one does look really good.
I can't wait to get to play with Roy and Marth and everything like that in that Battlefield. boys are boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But
And the fact that Nintendo is trying to get some of these games that were kind of known for being on Xbox and PlayStation, and they're trying to bring them to the Switch, like Skyrim and Call of Duty and all this other stuff.
Right. And speaking of Skyrim, just they bring that Nintendo flair and everything, letting you get the Master Sword, dude. That's almost worth buying the game again, dude. Just to get to use the Master Sword.
Oh, to use the Master Sword to play through Skyrim as Link. I will play through the whole game like that, because that's a thought that people always had in the back of their head, but never thought that it would ever actually happen.
So yeah, I mean, and like you said, the third-party support is amazing. The third-party support, you know, getting to see Call of Duty, World War II being on there, you know, some Tekken 7, you know, that type. We get to see a lot of games that are actually gonna show up on the Nintendo Switch. So, you know, big names that were coming from Nintendo, like a lot of those, Luigi's Mansion. Or did we actually see anything for Luigi's Mansion?
No, we did not.
Unfortunate, because I mean that was actually the biggest name that was on that list that I was actually looking forward to, and unfortunately it did not show up, so there won't be any Luigi's Mansion. But still, Super Mario Odyssey still looks fantastic. You know, we got to see a lot of gameplay from some games that just look really good.
And I'm sure Luigi's Mansion 3 is still gonna be something. I have hopes, because that's probably my favorite out of any of the Mario games, honestly, is Luigi's Mansion.
Definitely, yeah. So, I mean, that's our thoughts on E3 so far, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. I know it was a relatively long video, and thank you guys for dealing with that hard cut right in the middle of the video.
That hard cut.
But thank you guys for dealing with that, you know, because we just had to get that sorted out. This was our thoughts on E3, you know, just fooling around, playing a little bit of Strider in honor of Marvel vs. Capcom versus, you know, the new DBZ game. You know, so thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you liked the video. Oh, go ahead. Whatever you got to say, man.
I was just gonna say, if you guys have anything that you thought was really great about E3, if you were watching it, just feel free to leave us some comments. We'd love to read them, and we'd love to see what you guys think on it.
Yeah, because our opinions, of course, are not, you know, the most important. You know, we definitely want to hear what you guys have to say, so we can sit back and laugh. No, we're not gonna laugh at you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. But yeah, I mean, leave comments. You know, like and subscribe if you really thought the information was cool, or if you just, you know, like the chill vibe and everything like that. Follow me on Twitter at, you know, YoungKami93. And like the Facebook page at Wakai Kami Productions. You guys are awesome. Thanks and have a great day.
Oh my God.